Hey there guys, yo pal Jonathan Baker here. Welcome to hashtag 224. I'm your host Jonathan and welcome to tonight's episode of the vlog series. Well, if you guys haven't seen the previous episode of the vlog series, take a look in the corner or click on the link in the link's description and you are good to go. Well guys, I got some important announcements, and these announcements are from my family in Brownwood. And most likely they went to Midland to go see my uncle that is now in the hospital today. As you may know guys, I have just received word that my uncle from Midland has been in the hospital and he has went through a serious heart attack, and most likely this is what ended him up in the hospital. And so my family are down there tonight to see my uncle in the hospital. I do know that his condition could be very serious. I don't know what's going on, but I do know his condition is very serious. So anyway guys, please help me keep my uncle in prayer because he's not doing too well tonight and he needs your support. So anyway guys, it'd be very appreciated if you guys help me out. So anyway, thank you guys. So anyway guys, tonight's story is going to be featured on The Lion King. Anyway guys, I have thought of an amazing story to start off a good story about what happens in the future of Kovu and Kiara and Simba and Nala. Well, this new story begins as Kiara was pregnant and was about to have a newborn baby. A baby cub. Well, one day she is laying on the ground giving birth to Kovu's and Kiara's newborn son. Well, after this newborn was born, Kovu and Kiara thought of some names. Kovu was like, what should we call our newborn son? And Kiara was like, well, I don't know, what do you want to name him? So they thought for a minute. And they were like, thinking. Kovu came up with a specific name. And this name he chose down. They named their son Koven. Well, Koven grew to be a good lion like his dad Kovu. And well, one night Koven was sleeping and he actually heard his grandfather talking to him in his sleep, like somebody whispering in your ear like this. Like, I don't know, he was saying something like, Koven, join me. And all of a sudden, Koven was being frightened that he was trying to being seduced by his grandfather and his evil grandmother. Well, one morning, Koven goes to his dad and says, Dad, I got something to tell you. And Kovu's like, okay, son, let's hear it. Well, Koven said he was being haunted. He started hearing voices in his sleep. And he started to see a apparition in his mind he started to see his grandfather and his grandmother and his uncle. And anyway, Kovu said to his son, "Son, listen to me. Your grandfather and your grandmother, they were both evil, and they almost killed Simba, you know. And Simba's father died a long time ago because Scar was the one responsible for Simba's father's death. And Koven believed that his grandfather was trying to seduce him to the wrong side, and most likely the grandfather was trying to get Koven to actually kill Simba and actually getting it over with. Well, Kovu was telling his son, "Do not listen to those voices that you hear at night, because your grandfather is trying to seduce you to the dark side, and we don't want to lose you because you are our only son, and we cannot lose you." Well, one day, Koven took up his father's wishes, and he was ignoring his grandfather plus his grandmother. Well, one day, Koven was out in the field, and he saw a dark apparition. This apparition was the shape of a lion, and this lion, he was very dark, he was very evil. I couldn't describe what he looked like, but all I know was Koven was surrounded by fear. Koven closed his eyes, and after he reopened them, the apparition was gone. Most likely, this apparition was getting to him. He was getting paranoid by his grandfather and plus his grandmother, and most likely his evil uncle that died in a tree branch accident. If you guys remember what happened to Nuka back then, Nuka was killed because he was trying to get Simba and trying to kill him. And all of a sudden, Nuka fell and a huge tree branch just crushed him. And all of a sudden, Nuka died right there. Zira was in a bunch of pain because she saw her own son die. But that was in the second movie of The Lion King, and most likely it was a very saddening feeling. And right afterward, Zira gave Kovu the scar right here and right here, going between his eye. And to this day, Kovu showed Koven the scar. And most likely, Koven saw Scar. And he saw the scar on his dad's face. And most likely, it was a good thing that Koven didn't see Scar in Kovu, because Kovu is a good character. And in the series of The Lion King, he turned from bad to good right there. So anyway, guys, if there's any more story like this, I will share it with you guys. I think this story turns out to be the start of it, But there's also more to where this story goes. Well, one day, Koven goes out into the Outlands, and Kovu sees the crowds of the hyenas returning. He is evidently being surrounded, and all of a sudden you see Ed, one of the hyenas from the first movie. He would actually say, "Hey, are you a new outsider?" And one of the other guys was just sitting there laughing his head off. And a lot of everything else. But anyway, guys, as he entered the Outlands, he knew that his grandfather's ghost was there. His grandfather was pulling him away from his family, knowing that the dark side was surrounding him. And most likely, his grandfather was like, "You will take my place. You will destroy my enemies. And you will leave victorious against my enemies." So Koven was surrounded by the dark side. Most likely, he was changing from good to evil. And most likely, Simba was spying on his nephew. And he went to Simba, he went to Kovu saying, "Your son is being driven into the anger zone." Most likely, Koven was already being taken advantage of by his grandfather and also his grandmother. And most likely, Koven was seduced by his grandfather. His grandfather's ghost entered into him, and most likely it was going through his body. He was possessed, and most likely this grandfather wanted to take revenge on Simba. Simba in these years was really old. Simba was about to pass on, and Nala was about to pass on as well. Which evidently, Kovu and Kiara both were fixing to be the new leaders of Pride Rock. But evidently, the sun turns evil, and this goes into a big confrontation against Kovu and the son that he raised. But anyway, guys, I think this is the end of storytelling right now. I know it's an interesting story, but anyway, guys, hope that you guys are enjoying the story so far, and most likely there is more ideas that I am thinking of. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to put a like on there, subscribe for more new episodes, because evidently there will be more episodes like this. When I think about something, I come up with a story. I think of a good story to tell. And most likely, this story is going in right here, because I know there's not too much time right now. But anyway, guys, This story will be continued throughout the next time I start talking to you guys, and most likely it's going to be a good story. So anyway, guys, don't forget to keep it rocking, and we'll see you on Saturday.